Hey guys, not posted a video up for a while. Basically, I've got a tournament coming up in about 6 or 7 weeks time. Obviously I'm going through the meticulous preparation that all gamers go through before a tournament. And I was thinking I'm going to put together a video that will go through the sort of things you're going to come across when preparing to go to a tournament. Sort of things you need to take with you, things to expect, people you may meet, people you may need to like team up with, all things like that. So basically, what you need to take with you is your army. Obviously, I've got my army here. Tournament I'm going to is 1500 point army. This army actually comes in at 1492. The 8-point gap I fill up with is this guy right here, the Fire Dragon Exarch, gets given a Dragon's Breath Flamer in circumstances such that require it. I.e., if I'm playing Orcs, if I'm playing Tyranids, if I'm playing any sort of Horde. He also has Crack Shot, which basically means he can reroll to wound and ignores cover saves, which is great against vehicles, and it's also great when he has his flame template because he rerolls wounds. The rest of the army is basically like the Avatar, Eldrad, 10 Dire Avengers, Exarch and Bladestorm in a Wave Serpent, Fire Dragons in a Wave Serpent, 6 Jet Bikes, 2 Fire Prisms, and 2 Vipers with Shuriken Cannon and Scatter Laser. Those things are awesome. Just for pump sheer, those 2 little vehicles can pump out 14 shots. But what more can you ask for? 14 strength 6 shots. They, transports, rhinos, chimeras, anything like that. Basically, they'll just rip through anything. They took down a Dreadnought in my last game I played. They took down a Whirlwind. Just sheer volume of fire just really makes them a thorn in the side, especially when you guide them up with Eldrad, doing whatever they're shooting. They cause a lot of death. So obviously, your number one thing to take is your army. You can't turn up to a tournament without an army unless one of your friends is lending you an army. The tournaments I go to, I know for a fact they don't let you borrow an army. If you're there, you turn up with an army or you don't play, basically. Maybe different from where you guys play. It might be sort of like rent an army tournaments. I don't know, but basically you bring your own army. That's rule number one. I'm sure it's the same wherever you go, but I just thought to make that contrary point. Somewhere maybe you don't, but where we play, you do. You bring your own army. Okay, other things you need. Obviously, this is like the gamer's god pack right here. Codex, rulebook, templates, tape measure, dice. I can't stand people that turn up to any game without the basic equipment. You don't have your dice. This is what we use to play the game. You can't play a game of 40k without dice. And personally, I'm sure there's other people that feel the same as me. I hate using other people's dice, and I hate people using my dice. And if I'm playing a guy who hasn't got any dice, I'll share my dice happily, because that's the way that this whole thing works. It's all about sharing and community, and we're all a team. But I think your dice should be your dice. Just like wearing someone else's shoes doesn't quite feel right. For me, using someone else's dice doesn't quite feel right. And I also think that your dice should sort of be an extension of you and be an extension of your army, which is why I've gone for the blue and white dice. Obviously, we'll go with the blue and white theme of my Eldar army. That's just maybe me being pernickety, but I like it. I've also got a set of red dice for my Blood Angels, and I'm gonna get I've got some purple dice for my Tomb Kings, and I'm gonna get some green dice when I do my Tyranids. That's just the way it goes. I like continuity in that sense. And there's obviously rulebook and codex, because no matter how much you may know this thing inside out, your opponent doesn't, and you'd be surprised how much you forget. Like, I've actually gone back and looked through my Eldar codex over the last 2-3 weeks, and there's actually quite a few things, important things that I've missed that have, looking back, have changed games. For example, Eldrad, if he's in combat, can't do 3 psychic powers. And I've overlooked that so many times, and yet I've been casting 3 powers in combat. And the reason why he can't do 3 powers in combat is because he has to use his Staff of Ultramar as a combat weapon. So it's just little things like that you can overlook. So just always take it, just to double check. And it's like I say, your opponent might not know your codex inside out, so they may ask to check things up from time to time. Then the other thing is the rulebook. Like again, same principle. No matter how much you think you know, sometimes there may be a rule that's under dispute where the 4-up rule doesn't sort of apply to it, and you just need to quickly check through and see what's going on. And that's pretty much all there is to that. Obviously, templates. I need templates for my army because I've got the fire prisms and possibly dragon's breath flamer. So I like to take my templates because it shows I'm prepared. I know what I need to do. Tape measures are also a given because the whole thing is you move in inches. Without something to measure your inches, how far do you know where do you know you've gone? Oh, excuse me. So that's basically what you need to take. The other thing is a display board. I don't have my display board out at the moment. It's in the cupboard. I'm not going to get it out. Just basically because I've taken my army straight out of my case. Just to save time. Also, I'm not going to do a how to build a display board video because it's already been done better than I would possibly do it. And it's common sense anyway. You get a bit of wood or a bit of whatever or an old tray, and you make it look however you want to make it look. Simple as that. There's no how to make how to make a display board, make it big enough for your army, make it look however you want to make it look. They're basically the only 2 rules that you need to worry about. There's going to be a sort of a part 2 to this video, but in the same video, I'm just going to sort of change the dynamic of it a little bit, because I want to go through what to expect, what type of players to expect, and how to deal with each one, so to speak. I'm not saying like how to deal with them, don't jump across the table and punch them in the face, but how to act in yourself if you come up against these types of people. And just one quick point, I'd like to just throw out a quick thank you to Fritz over at the Way of Saimahan YouTube channel for basically, he posted a video a while back about magnetic bases. I've basically just coined the idea to my own army. It's like a magnifying glass there. Yeah, just basically made my own magnetic bases using magnetic rods like he did. Just for, I think that the cool and really easy. The amount of things that are broken off, using flyers, them little plastic rods are absolutely awful. So yeah. Thanks Fritz. Thanks for the idea. I'm not going to take any credit for it. It's not my idea. It's completely like stolen from Fritz. So the kudos goes over to his channel. And I'm just bear with me 2 seconds. I'm going to change camera angle. I mean, it'll be a blink of an eye for you. So anyway, it shouldn't really matter. All right, guys. Okay, guys. I'm going to finish off this video just by giving a quick run through of sort of players that you can expect. Most tournaments nowadays, this one in particular that I'm going to in a few weeks' time, basically uses sort of a new concept. It's like the composition score. Basically, the composition score means you get points for taking a, let's say, a weaker army than what you normally would. For example, I don't know, a Chaos army that hasn't got Lash Princes in it, or an Orc army with no Nob Bikers, or no Nobs in general. That sort of thing. You take a weaker army and leave out the powerhouse units of your list. You get sort of bonus points for that because you're seen as being at a disadvantage. Now this system, I think, is both a blessing and a curse at the same time. Now what I mean by that is, basically, it splits the dynamic of a tournament down the middle. You either categorise yourself, well, you either find yourself, you don't mean to do this, but you find yourself categorised in one of 2 groups. You're either the fun gamer, the composition score gamer, who doesn't really, you're at a tournament, it's sort of semi-competitive, but you're not there to win, you're just there to have a good time, meet new people, show off your nicely painted army, have a few games of your favourite hobby, and you'll get bonus points for that. You'll get your comp score will be high. You may not necessarily win all your games, you might not lose them all, but chances are going up against the other group, which we'll get to later, you're probably going to lose your games being in this group. And that's the way it is. Unfortunately, you go for the fun or you go for the win. That's the that's sort of the blessing curse thing that I'm on about. So you get composition score for it. You can start your place quite highly without winning all your games. Like I've been to a tournament a few months back where I actually placed third, and I only won just over 50% of my games. But because I took a weaker army, my composition squad actually really helped my final placing in that tournament. So that's the first group. The second category is basically the opposite of that. When you take the powerhouse army, you've got, like, my Eldar army is sort of, power gamerish. It's anything from like the full knob biker list. I don't know. Chaos armies that have the lash prints and obliterator combos. I don't know, Land Raider spams. Lists like that. Space Wolf armies, Tyranids with like loads of monstrous creatures. These are like power gaming lists, games that are designed to win the game. Now, your composition score will be lower on this, but chances are you're going to win more games. So, by nature of building your list, you find yourself in one of these two categories. Either you're going to the tournament to have fun, to meet people, to show off your army, or you're going to the tournament to potentially win the thing or place highly by winning the battles. Now, when you go to tournaments, you're going to probably come across 3, 4, maybe 5 categories of players. We'll see how many we can get through in the time that's left. I can't actually see the back of my camera, so I'm just completely guessing this. Basically, we've already gone through 2. Player category 1 is the fun player. You're just there to have a good time. You take your army, nicely painted miniatures, you show them off, you play a few games, you have a laugh over the table, build up a rapport with the guy across from you, and it's all nice and friendly. Players like this are good to play against for a number of reasons. First reason that these players are good to play against is it just makes the experience more enjoyable. If you've not got someone picking on every rule, pushing you back half a millimetre because you've moved half a millimetre too far, honestly, accidentally. Someone you can have a laugh with over the table, sort of relieves the tension a little bit. Specifically if you're there attempting to win the tournament, say, the fact that you don't have to sort of dig out every last win and every last sort of strategic advantage on the battlefield it's always a good thing to have under your belt. It's just nice to release the pressure a little bit by having this friendly person. It's nice to have a good time. The second reason that these people are nice to come up against in tournaments is if you are going for that big W, the win of the tournament, you're going for battle score, these people generally hand you a free win. It's not nice to think of it like that. We're all there in the spirit of the game to have a good time. But, it's true. These people will generally gift you a free win to your score. Which brings us to the second type of person, which again we've touched on, the power gamer. Now, the power gamers aren't so nice to come up against, particularly if you're the first category. If you're someone who's there for fun, to have a good time, you just don't compute. This isn't a yin-yang type of thing. This is more like different ends of a magnet, if that makes any sense. You're there to have fun. These people won't let you have any fun. They'll pick up on every last thing, every last little rule, every move, every dice roll, anything they can twist to put the game into their advantage, to give them a better chance of winning, they will do it. And I've been there myself. I've been against these people, and there's one way of dealing with these people, and I'll touch on that later. I just want to get through more categories. The third category of player that you come up against tournaments is the rules lawyer. Sort of an extension of category number 2, which we've just talked about, but these people will have your codex, their codex, and the rulebook open at every moment during the game, and no matter what you say, they will not take your word for anything. And in some cases it's fair enough. I've had cases where people have tried duping me out of a rule, and when I've checked it, it's actually wrong. Sometimes people just make genuine mistakes where they say, a certain gun may be strength 6 where it's actually strength 5, or, the character's got 4 wounds when actually they've got 3. Genuine mistakes, we all do it. So it's just handy to check. But these people do more than check. I had it last tournament I went to, I took my Blood Angels. And basically, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Basically, yeah, the guy I was playing would not buy my, wouldn't trust me saying that my Rhino hull vehicles were fast vehicles. So every time I move my Vindicator, I move my Bale Predator, I move my Razorback, I move my Rhino, any movement I made, he would get out the blood, he'd ask to see my Blood Angel Codex, he'd read the info entry, he'd read the points list entry, he'd read the armory entry, and then he'd read the rulebook every time I moved it from the vehicles. That's 4 vehicles. He spent about 10 to 12 minutes checking stuff for each one of those 4 vehicles. That's nearly an hour of wasted time, which you didn't need to. In the end, it proved that they were fast vehicles, and I could move 12 inches and fire one weapon, just like any other fast vehicle. So these people just slow down the game unnecessarily. Have a bit of trust in your opponent. If there's something that you think's a bit dodgy, then feel free, ask to check it, but do it nicely. Don't snatch the codex off him, which this guy pretty much was doing. Just don't do it. Don't be a dick about it. If you want to question something, then do it. Do it in a civilized manner. That's the whole point of the game, is to be civilized with your opponent and have a good time. The fourth and final person that I think you'll come up against the tournament is the unprepared player. Now, the unprepared player can come into any category of the previous 3, but warrants a category of their own. Now, the unprepared player will have no tape measure, no dice, a half-painted army, perhaps. Won't have the codex. They won't really know the rules that well of their army. If you don't know, I know my Eldar Codex pretty much inside out. I know all the strengths, all the toughnesses, all the saves, all the weapon strengths, all the weapon ranges. If you don't know these things, you need your Codex, because otherwise you ain't going to be playing by the rules, because you can pretty much make up your own rules if your opponent doesn't know your rules. If I play against a guy who doesn't know a thing about the Eldar Codex, I can say, yeah, shuriken cannons are heavy 6 and strength 9. He doesn't know that. If he takes my word for it, I'm cheating, basically. So you need your codex, and you need your dice, you need your templates, you need your tape measure, you need to be prepared. And that's basically it. That's what you can expect. The different types of categories of gamer that I think you come up against, that's what you can expect. There is one generic way of dealing with all of these people. Obviously, everyone has their own ways of it. I'm not saying this is how you should be, because, you should be you. Be how you want to be, Be yourself. It's the old cliche saying, but be yourself, have fun, have a good time, and act how you think is appropriate. But personally, this is how I act. I go in as myself, and I take, I don't know if anyone plays poker, but I take like a poker stance on the game of 40k. And what I mean by this is, in poker, you never play your hand, you play the guy across from you. Yeah, it's simple rule of poker. It doesn't matter what cards you've got in your hand, you can bluff with the guy out of folding, you've won the hand. And that's the sort of stance I take on it. So if I turn up and, the guy is a fun gamer and he's there to have a good time, I'll have a good time back with him. We'll have a laugh. We might meet up for a drink afterwards at the bar or whatever. We'll have a laugh and we'll swap stories, and we'll let each other fudge a few mistakes, because that's the nature of the game. But if the next game comes around and I happen to be paired up against the power gamer, then I get my power gamer head on, and everything they pick me up on, I pick them up on, and it just works like that. I play the guy across me, I sort of mirror their attitude. If it means they're being a dick, I'll be a dick back with them. I hate doing it, I don't like doing it, but sometimes you got to give these guys a taste of their own medicine. So basically, that's just where I stand on it. How to prepare, what to expect, and sort of how to act. I'm not telling you how to act, I'm not trying to brainwash you, but it's just a pointer. Just mimic the guy opposite you, and if he's being a dick and you're being a dick back, normally they'll see the error of the ways and they'll stop being a dick too. So anyone that's coming up to tournaments, there's a little bit of advice for you. Anyway guys, peace out.